One of the most vocal critics in Diddy's orbit right now is 50 Cent, a longtime rival, who's never shied away from public jabs. Their decades-long tension seems to be reaching a boiling point, as 50 Cent is reportedly preparing a documentary through his production company to delve into Diddy's personal history, including allegations about his relationships and behavior in the industry. Known for his unfiltered commentary, 50 Cent has taken to social media to poke fun at Diddy's legal troubles, often reverting to humor, even as the situation grows more serious. For instance, he mocked the shift in public perception from mogul to rapper whenever controversy strikes, and he didn't hold back when Diddy quickly settled a lawsuit with Cassie Ventura, questioning the speed of the payout in a now-deleted post. While some see 50 Cent's actions as stirring the pot, many online supporters argue his persistence aligns with the mounting scrutiny Diddy faces over numerous misconduct claims. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, filed in the Southern District of New York, brought forth harrowing accusations of years of alleged abuse, including physical violence, drug use, and coercion at Diddy's hands. Though the case was settled for an undisclosed amount after an initial demand of $30 million, which Diddy's team called blackmail, Cassie's decision to speak out was framed as a way to support other women in similar situations. Her story, combined with the earlier video evidence of a physical altercation with Diddy, has intensified public and legal focus on his actions over the years. Adding to the chorus of voices is Jaguar Wright, who has long warned of Diddy's questionable reputation behind closed doors. She's made bold claims about his alleged involvement in exploitative behavior, accusing him of manipulating young artists and engaging in troubling activities at Hollywood gatherings. Wright has described a darker side to Diddy's influence, alleging he uses his power to intimidate and take advantage of vulnerable individuals in the industry. Her accounts, once dismissed by many, are gaining traction as more revelations surface, especially in light of unsettling stories about the nature parties hosted by Diddy, where inappropriate conduct was reportedly normalized. Usher, another prominent figure from Diddy's past, has also shared disturbing reflections on his early career under the mogul's mentorship. He revealed being exposed to drugs and wild parties at just 13 years old, environments he felt unprepared for emotionally and psychologically. Usher described feeling pressured to navigate a lifestyle that clashed with his focus on building a music career, often clashing with Diddy over priorities. His candid account paints a picture of a young artist caught in a world of excess, struggling to maintain his identity and purpose amidst questionable influences. Further fueling the narrative of exploitation are comments from Mace, who recently called out Diddy on social media over unpaid publishing rights from work done over 20 years ago. Mace accused Diddy of trapping young artists in unfair contracts, perpetuating a cycle of control and mistreatment. His frustration echoes a broader sentiment of feeling undervalued and stifled under Diddy's shadow, a theme that resonates with others who've worked closely with the Bad Boy Records founder. Even Reggie Wright Jr., a former industry insider, has backed some of these claims, hinting at Diddy's questionable behavior at high-profile events and suggesting a pattern of misconduct that's been an open secret for years. Stories of so-called freaky parties in places like the Hamptons, where boundaries were allegedly blurred in plain sight, add to the growing unease about Diddy's behind-the-scenes conduct. For many of us who've watched Hollywood's underbelly exposed over the decades, these accounts aren't entirely surprising, yet they remain deeply troubling. The systemic issues of power imbalance, coupled with societal biases around gender and race, have often silenced voices like Cassie's or Wright's, till undeniable evidence or public pressure forces a reckoning. The FBI raids on Diddy's properties earlier this year, uncovering over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, among other items, have only added fuel to the speculation, though their relevance to the charges remains unclear. As we reflect on this unfolding drama, it's a reminder of how fame can obscure truth for far too long. Movements like Me Too have started to shift how we listen to survivors, but the road to accountability remains steep, especially when powerful figures are involved. For our generation, who've seen societal attitudes evolve, This case challenges us to keep pushing for a world where no one's story is dismissed due to status or stereotype. As Diddy's legal battles and personal feuds play out, let's focus on fostering empathy and fairness, ensuring that every voice, whether from a star like Usher or a lesser-known artist, gets the respect it deserves. Drop your thoughts below on how you see the situation, and stay tuned for more updates as this story continues to develop. The chorus of voices speaking out against Diddy continues to grow louder, each adding weight to a story that's been unfolding for nearly 2 decades. 50 Cent, a long-standing rival, is reportedly ramping up efforts to expose Diddy through a documentary produced by his company, focusing on the mogul's personal history and alleged behavior with peers in the rap world. Known for his sharp tongue, 50 Cent has used social media to throw jabs at Diddy, from mocking his quick settlement with Cassie Ventura to laughing off the shift in public labels from mogul to rapper whenever trouble arises. While some view his actions as mere provocation, others online see his persistence as aligning with the increasing public and legal pressure on Diddy over numerous misconduct allegations. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, which accused Diddy of years of alleged abuse, including physical violence and coercion, remains a pivotal piece of this puzzle. Filed in the Southern District of New York, her claims settled for an undisclosed amount after an initial $30 million demand labeled as blackmail by Diddy's team have emboldened others to reconsider past dismissals of similar stories. The video evidence of a physical altercation between Cassie and Diddy, combined with her public intent to support other women, has shifted the conversation, making it harder to ignore the pattern of accusations spanning back to the early 2000s. Jaguar Wright, a vocal critic for years, has doubled down on her unsettling claims about Diddy's influence in Hollywood. She's accused him of exploiting young artists and engaging in questionable activities at industry events, painting him as someone who uses his power to manipulate and intimidate. Her descriptions of a darker side to Diddy's world, including allegations of predatory behavior at parties, are gaining more attention now, especially as other corroborating stories emerge. Once brushed off as bitter or exaggerated, Wright's warnings resonate more deeply in light of recent developments. Usher's revelations about his early career under Diddy's wing add another layer of concern. He spoke of being exposed to drugs and inappropriate environments at just 13 years old, feeling out of place in a lifestyle of excess that clashed with his desire to focus on music. His accounts of tension with Diddy over priorities, wanting studio time over club nights, highlight the pressures young artists can face when mentored by powerful figures. Usher's honesty about the emotional toll of those experiences underscores the need for better protections in the industry for vulnerable talents. Mace, too, has brought forward grievances, publicly confronting Diddy on social media over unpaid publishing rights from work done over 2 decades ago. He's accused Diddy of locking young artists into unfair contracts, trapping them in cycles of control and mistreatment. This sentiment of being held back and undervalued echoes broader frustrations among those who've collaborated with the Bad Boy Records founder, pointing to a pattern of power imbalance. Reggie Wright Jr., a former industry insider, has supported some of these narratives, hinting at Diddy's questionable conduct at high-profile gatherings. Stories of so-called white parties in the Hamptons and other events where inappropriate behavior allegedly became normalized over time add to the growing unease about what's transpired behind closed doors. These accounts, coupled with the FBI raids on Diddy's properties in Miami and Los Angeles earlier this year, where over 1,000 bottles of baby oil were reportedly found among other items, keep public speculation alive, even if the relevance of such discoveries to the charges remains unclear. For those of us who've seen Hollywood's glitz often mask darker truths, these overlapping stories aren't entirely shocking, but they remain profoundly troubling. The systemic challenges of power dynamics, compounded by societal biases around gender and race, have long silenced voices like Cassie's Wright's, or even Usher's, until undeniable evidence or cultural shifts force a reckoning. The Not Me Too movement has begun to change how we respond to such allegations, encouraging us to listen more intently to survivors, regardless of the accused status. Yet, as Diddy's case shows, the path to accountability is still fraught with obstacles, especially when fame and influence are involved. Reflecting on my own observations over the years, I recall how often the entertainment industry has protected its biggest names, sometimes at the cost of justice. Whether it's the 1999 nightclub incident tied to Diddy, where a victim's claims of his involvement were largely overlooked, or the more recent wave of accusations, there's a recurring theme of delayed consequences. It's disheartening to think how many may have suffered quietly, waiting for society to catch up and take their experiences seriously. As this saga unfolds, it's a call to action for our generation who've witnessed societal norms evolve over time. We have a role in advocating for a future where speaking out isn't met with doubt, but with compassion, and where no one's story is buried under the weight of celebrity. Let's keep the focus on the systemic issues at play: power imbalances, cultural prejudices, and the need for genuine accountability rather than just the sensational headlines. Diddy's legal battles and personal conflicts with peers like 50 Cent and Mace are a reminder that behind every public figure are human stories deserving of respect. The voices speaking out against Diddy have grown into a powerful chorus, each adding a unique perspective to a narrative of alleged misconduct spanning decades. 50 Cent, a rival with a history of conflict with Diddy, is reportedly taking his critique to new heights by developing a documentary through his production company. This project aims to explore Diddy's personal history and rumored behavior within the rap and entertainment circles. Never one to mince words, 50 Cent has used social media to jab at Diddy's current predicament, from commenting on the rapid settlement with Cassie Ventura to chuckling at how quickly public perception shifts from mogul to rapper in times of controversy. While some dismiss his actions as mere provocation, many online argue that his persistence mirrors the growing wave of scrutiny Diddy faces over a litany of troubling claims. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit remains a cornerstone of this unfolding drama. Filed in the Southern District of New York, her accusations of years of alleged abuse at Diddy's hands, ranging from physical violence to coercion, struck a chord when they surfaced. Though settled for an undisclosed sum after an initial $30 million demand, which Diddy's team labeled as blackmail, Cassie's public stance to support other women in similar situations has amplified her impact. Paired with the previously released video of a physical altercation between her and Diddy, her story has forced a re-evaluation of past accounts that were too easily dismissed, pushing the conversation into a realm where ignoring such claims becomes increasingly difficult. Jaguar Wright, who has long been a vocal detractor, continues to share disturbing allegations about Diddy's influence behind the scenes. She's accused him of exploiting young talent and engaging in predatory behavior at industry events, portraying him as a figure who leverages power to manipulate and intimidate. Her vivid descriptions of questionable activities at Hollywood gatherings, once brushed aside as exaggerated, are now being reconsidered by many as more corroborating voices emerge. Wright's persistence highlights how long it can take for such warnings to gain traction in an industry often reluctant to confront its darker corners. Usher's reflections on his early career under Diddy's mentorship add a poignant dimension to the discussion. He's spoken candidly about being thrust into environments of drugs and excess at the tender age of 13, feeling unprepared for the lifestyle Diddy exposed him to. Recounting clashes over priorities, choosing studio work over club nights, Usher's story reveals the vulnerability of young artists navigating mentorship from powerful figures. His emotional account serves as a reminder of the urgent need for safeguards to protect emerging talents from undue pressures or inappropriate influences in the music world. Mace, another former collaborator, has publicly aired grievances over unpaid publishing rights tied to work from over 2 decades ago. Accusing Diddy of ensnaring young artists in unfair contracts, Mace points to a cycle of control and undervaluation that stifles growth. His frustration resonates with a broader sentiment among some who've worked with the Bad Boy Records founder, shedding light on how business practices can exacerbate personal and professional tensions in the industry. Reggie Wright Jr., a former industry insider, has lent credence to some of these narratives, suggesting Diddy's behavior at high-profile events has long been a whispered concern. Tales of white parties in the Hamptons and other gatherings where inappropriate conduct allegedly became commonplace over time deepen the unease about what's transpired out of public view. The FBI raids on Diddy's properties in Miami and Los Angeles earlier this year, which reportedly uncovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, among other items, continue to fuel speculation, even if their direct connection to the charges remains unclear. For those of us who've observed Hollywood's ability to gloss over uncomfortable truths, these overlapping accounts, while disturbing, aren't entirely unexpected. Systemic issues like power imbalances, combined with societal biases around gender and race, have historically muted voices like Cassie's Rights or Usher's until irrefutable evidence or cultural shifts demand attention. The Me Too movement has started to reshape how we respond, urging us to listen more closely to survivors, regardless of the accused's prominence. Yet Diddy's case illustrates that the journey toward true accountability remains challenging, particularly when fame and influence can shield someone from consequences for so long. Reflecting on decades of societal change, I've seen how often the entertainment industry has prioritized protecting its stars over seeking justice. From the 1999 nightclub incident linked to Diddy, where a victim's claims of his involvement faded into the background, to the current wave of allegations, the pattern of delayed reckoning is evident. It's a sobering thought that countless individuals may have endured pain in silence, waiting for a moment when the world was ready to hear them out. As this complex situation develops, it's a pivotal moment for our generation who've witnessed evolving norms over time. We can play a part in advocating for a future where speaking out isn't a risk, but a respected right, and where no story is overshadowed by celebrity status or stereotype. Let's keep our focus on the underlying issues, power dynamics, cultural prejudices, and the necessity of genuine accountability, rather than getting lost in sensationalism. Diddy's legal challenges and public disputes with figures like 50 Cent and Mace remind us that behind every high-profile name are human experiences that deserve dignity and attention.